9 years ago, we made a substantial investment in improving the reading capabilities of Mississippi's children. We've worked for 9 years now in grades kindergarten through third grade, and we've learned many, many things working with thousands and thousands of children. But one of the most important things we've learned is that if you wait till kindergarten, you've waited too late for an awful lot of these children. They've never seen a book or a magazine in their house. They don't understand the concept of reading.
Neuroscientists have discovered new research that shows that early childhood education is a critical time in the brain development of young children. It has been found that over 90% of brain growth occurs within the first 3 years of life. Out of the 11,000 children studied nationwide, it was found that children from low socioeconomic status families had a cognitive difference in their brain at as early as 9 months. It completely maxes out at 24 months of age. This is significant evidence that we need to intervene early in the lives of children.
Learning doesn't start in kindergarten or first grade. Learning begins at birth. There's a saying that parents are their children's first teachers, but we need to make sure for those parents who choose to place their children in the care of others that they are in high-quality environments with competent, caring staff. While there are several quality early childhood education opportunities available for parents, like pre-K and Head Start, many individuals don't understand that many families make too much money to be eligible for Head Start, but not nearly enough money to be able to afford high-quality early childhood education for their children.
At Sanderson Farms, we have the largest child care facility in Mississippi. We care for over 200 children from ages 2 months to 13 years old. And the business investment that Sanderson Farms makes in the child care facility allows us the opportunity to have reduced turnover, reduced absenteeism, and also enjoy more productivity from our employees because they're not worrying about their children.
Based on all of the research and the new brain development research, the private sector has stepped up to the plate in Mississippi. My program, Mississippi Building Blocks, is designed to help child care providers provide high-quality child care to young children under the age of 5. In Mississippi, there are approximately 1,780 licensed child care centers. We also know that over 80% of children in our state under the age of 5 are in child care. So it makes perfect sense to have intervention services in the schools that we know these children are already attending.
It's no secret that brain development in the first 5 years is critical, and that living in poverty often results in challenges for the healthy development of the brain during those years. It is also no secret that Mississippi has the highest number of counties in the country with the highest percentage of children in poverty.
When I travel around the state of Mississippi and I visit schools and talk to teachers and talk to parents, it's very obvious that if we don't start very young with educating our young children, and it happens through developmental kinds of activities, that our children are lagging farther behind other children in other states, and our economy is impacted. And when you look in the face of a small child who has not had access to early childhood education, and when they are put into a classroom with other children who did get quality early childhood education, it does something very detrimental to their little psyches. So we think it is very important to start with children early, regardless of their income, regardless of their family makeup, regardless of their race or creed, so that all children in Mississippi have an equal opportunity to grow up and be productive citizens, and so that our state can grow.
One significant issue that we must address in the state of Mississippi is the fact that 1 in 14 of our students is not ready for kindergarten. They enter kindergarten and don't accelerate or move on to the first grade. This is a problem that we have to address. We feel that the best dropout prevention is early intervention.
Most children across our state do not have access to quality early childhood education. I'm sure some would think, well, it's not really my concern, but it is. We're here today because it is time that we all take responsibility for giving our children the opportunity to develop the skills that will foster their ability to become productive citizens.
The responsibility for every child's education begins at home. But in today's busy world with parents working sometimes 2 jobs, you have to supplement that. We learned a long time ago that our economic success is tied directly to this early education.
If you don't have a literate population, industry doesn't come to your state, opportunities don't come to your state. Typically in states where education rates are lower, there are higher crime rates, there are higher unemployment rates, and the research has shown that for every dollar invested in quality early childhood education, there is a significant return in communities.
When we talk about economic development, really we're talking about education, because education is key to our economic development success, and we've all heard the saying that learning is a lifelong process. Well, that process begins at birth. It doesn't wait until kindergarten or first grade, and studies show that kids that participate in early learning programs show up for kindergarten or first grade better prepared and are more likely to succeed in school. And so if we're going to have a great education system in order to grow our businesses and recruit new businesses, we've got to have that key foundation, which is kids who are ready to learn when they go to school. I'm not really sure that there's anything more important that we can be working on right now.
Certainly Chevron has been involved in education in the communities where we work across the world. This is another example of that. We think that early learning is just as important as K through 12 and higher ed, and it may be even more important. A lot of learning occurs during the first 5 years, and certainly parents are responsible for that, but communities can help. And so Excel by 5 helps parents with the learning that occurs during the first 5 years of life, so that when those students begin kindergarten, they are ready to go.
In 2010, economic development strategies cannot look like they did in 1960 and succeed. Growing the workforce begins at birth with parent support and strong infant-toddler programming, and continues throughout the child's school experience.
Educational deficiencies that begin at an early age and accumulate through the formative years shape a person's destiny in tremendous ways. This has a direct impact on the type of worker we can expect to have in the future. Studies show that participation in pre-kindergarten can increase high school graduation rates, employment, and earnings.
Anytime you think about early childhood education, you have to think about the future and the economic growth of the city, of the state, of the counties, of the communities that we all live in. And so it's so important for us to focus on this at this time. If we really want to improve the quality of life for citizens of this state, we know we have to begin with the foundation of early childhood education.
Another issue in the state of Mississippi is the fact that we are the only southern state that invests minimally in early education. Our neighbors, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Georgia, all invest millions more than the state of Mississippi. It's imperative that now that we have accountability systems in place, coupled with support from both the business and foundation communities, that the state of Mississippi step up to the plate and do what needs to be done in terms of funding quality early childhood education programs.
The future of our families, our communities, and our state requires that all Mississippi's children have access to quality early childhood education.
Children who don't read proficiently by the end of the 3rd grade are generally going to be tax absorbers versus taxpayers by the time they get to be teenagers. They drop out of high school. It's the biggest reason for teenage pregnancy is failure in school. We just see all kinds of advantages, and there are too many studies that show if you want to get Mississippi to improving economically, socially, and at the same time look out for the lives of these children, you've got to get to them before they get to be 5 years old if you're going to start this process and get it into their little brains how important it is to learn to read.